What's going on, folks? Happy Thursday to you. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus Thomas. Thank you for joining me. Um, Again, the NFL is a gift that keeps on giving. And as everyone, I am quite positive, has heard the news, Jalen Hurts just got paid with a capital P. 5-year, $255 million contract extension that happened on Monday with he's going to get about $110 million guaranteed. And when it's all said and done, it'll be $179.3. Man, that's a whole lot of hamburgers. Boy. So finally got that out of the way. That shoe finally dropped. And then that was trending all over everywhere. But man, feels good to be in Philly, man. Everything is popping. The Eagles are still popping. The Sixers are popping. The Phillies are finally getting warmed up. They're not quite there, but they're getting warmed up. Heel Chrome, what's good, man? Sean Young, as always, number one out the limo. Heel Chrome, you coming in at number 2. Rob Povia, what up, fam? I appreciate you. Vince, number 4. And Rob, we got one more 10 days to the draft? It's funny. I did my notes early, and so I did the poll question, and then the next day we signed the kid from Atlanta. So Marshawn Lynch, 33. What's going on? Ayo. I appreciate y'all coming in bright and early. And Marshawn, I believe you are number 5, and you already know my first 5 out the limo is brought to you by FanUp. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NBA and MLB contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, a $50 value. FanUp.app. Let's get it. But man, oh man, oh man, when they announced that contract, whoo. How did we get here? How did we get all the way to this point? And I'm saying that thinking back to the response that we had, not nationally, just in our community, just in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area. What kind of response did we have when we drafted Jalen Hurts? What's up, Tom Arnone, captain of the mothership, A2D Radio? I see you, brother. What kind of response did we had? Go back, look at the receipts, look at all of the reaction videos to the draft when we took Jalen Hurts. People were losing their mind because, let's be real, let's keep it 100. We didn't think it made much sense. We just paid Carson Wentz, 185 or whatever that contract was. So it didn't make sense at the time. But this is one of these things, man, where you really understand and you find out how much we don't know on the outside looking in. There's so many things that happen on the inside. There's so many conversations that are going on that we are just not privy to. And truth be told, all of these people in the media and stuff like that with their sources and all of that kind of stuff, they don't know nothing either. Everybody, if you're not in the room, you are guessing. Like everybody else. You just guess. And when all of these sources report stuff, that stuff is leaked, in my opinion. Most of that stuff is leaked, if not all of it. Because it makes no sense constantly everybody getting sources. Schefter's got sources. What's his name? What's the other guy's name? I can't remember his name, but Ian Rappaport, he's got sources, and they're always on the money. And that's why I say they don't have sources. They have strategic people, and I think the organizations have lined these people up, and they talk to the sources, and they tell them, this is information that we want to get out. This is it. Yes, you can mention this. Keep your mouth shut. I think it's that simple. The information they want to leak out, they leak out. Anything else they want to keep quiet, they keep quiet. But at the end of the day, all of these people, they guessing just like we are. They guessing just like we are. Vince, that's a good question, bro. That's a good question. The only thing I'll say is, because you got to think about it. Think about when the story came out about the whole altercation. Was it Darren Sproles and Carson Wentz? Was that who it was? I think Darren Sproles was hurt and Carson Wentz was hurt, and he said something in the locker room, and they had words. But how long did it take for that to get out? So I think the people on the inside saw some things that they didn't really like. And not for nothing, you can't discount Alshon Jeffrey. I don't think Alshon was he the one that was hurt, though? You might be right. It may have been Alshon. But in any case, like, the people in the room know. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that when Carson Wentz got that contract, he got the big head. He got the big head. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. You know my thoughts on the situation. Carson Wentz was never right after he took that hit from Jadeveon Clowney in the back of his head. Excuse me. Ever since he took that hit from Jadeveon, and it didn't look like a bad hit, but it took him out of the game. He missed, 2-3 games that year? So, I don't know. Very similar to Antonio Brown. You guys have heard me say that before. Ever since Antonio took that hit from Vontaze Burfict, he was never the same. I think possibly that could have a little bit to do with it. Or, yes, it can be just as simple as when you get $185 million, you tend to act a little different. You might tend to act a little different. Okay, so that was with Sproles. Okay, that's what I thought. Thanks, Sean. But when you get that type of money, some people ain't built for that. Some people are not built for that. If you go, I can tell you at every level I played, Little League, high school, college, professional, CFL, World League, at every level, you always got somebody on there, and when they feed the head, the attitude changes, the personality changes. Everybody can't handle that. That's why I'm so happy that we got a quarterback that has the temperament that Jalen Hurts has. That's one in a million. That's one in a million. Most quarterbacks, even at that level, you got to develop that. And I say that, look at all of the heat that Aaron Rodgers is taking. Brett Favre is taking. Now, and granted, all of this is warranted, legitimate criticisms. Even at the end, everything that Tom Brady was going through. And then you can go back and you look at people like what's the guy that played for Indianapolis that had the dude could throw the ball just an absolute Jeff George. When Jeff George came out, that joker could throw the ball so far it wasn't even funny. They talking about Will Levis and all of that. Just imagine arm stronger than Will Levis, and he's about 5 inches taller than Will Levis. I think Jeff George was like 6'5", 6'6". That joker could throw the ball a country mile. He was a garbage leader. He was a garbage quarterback. There is something to be said to have somebody on your squad or to have a coach that you will run through the wall for. Everybody doesn't have that. Just because they put the C on your chest doesn't mean it belongs there. Nowadays, they put the C on your chest. If you play quarterback, they automatically put the C on your chest, whether you earned it or not, whether you deserve it or not. Look at Zach. Look at Zach Wilson up in New York. Prime example. Easy example. Listen, that's a I don't know. That could be Vince. I'm a Christian, but I know the job that needs to be done when I'm out there on that field. There's a time and a place for everything. So, but that's a personality thing. Maybe it was like that, but you're not going to tell me that Wentz wasn't putting in work. From everything that I heard, football taking the back seat wasn't the issue. The issue was he didn't feel right when they drafted Jalen. They thought they was putting too much pressure on him. He didn't like the fact that Jalen was having a measure of success. Just because you are religious don't mean you can't have issues. If you got issues, it's you. Religion ain't got nothing to do with it. I know plenty of people that are Christians that are that got issues. So take that off the table. You can still act right. You can still be a Christian and ball out on Sunday. There's plenty of them. There's too many other examples. Jalen Hurts is an example. So I think it's got everything to do with he just didn't like the way things were going. Maybe he has somebody else in his ear. I don't know. But we got a guy right now with the temperament that can handle it so far. Because at any given time, you always know things can go left. But the way Jalen has been handling himself thus far, I think he's okay. So, I can't argue with you. I don't think, in my opinion, the Colts would have been better off keeping Carson Wentz. Because if you think about that year with the Colts, before they traded him in the offseason to Washington, Carson was one play away from taking the Colts to the playoffs. One play away. He made a devastating mistake. We were one play away from winning the Super Bowl. Because some would say, if Jalen doesn't fumble that ball, and Jalen fumbled the ball. He wasn't hit. He just muffed the ball. Nobody touched him. So you can put that in the same circumstances. This is a little bit more on the line, but you get my drift. But Carson was one play away from getting the Colts to the playoffs. And again, whatever happened behind the scenes, because you just don't dump people like that. He had y'all in a position where the Colts hadn't been in a couple of years. Made a bad decision, and you see the results. And then they just kicked him to the curb, straight to the curb. So it's interesting how they do that, and it all comes down to the player, and it all comes down to how ownership is looking at you, how they feel about you at any given time. That's what it comes down to. Mike, I hope you're right, bro. I hope it's the 30th pick, but not the 10th pick. But it all comes down to how people feel about you. You don't deal with people, you deal with personality. On a team, and especially in a team setting, you have got to know your personnel. I would tell anybody that's looking to get into coaching, if you're trying to be a manager or whatever you're doing, if you are residing over a group of people, whether you are a manager, general manager, whatever, if you got people underneath you, you have got to know your personnel. You got to know everybody's personality, what they're capable of, what they're not, and you got to make your decisions according to that. That's a situation I think the Eagles That's where I think they are now. We weren't like that before. You guys have heard me say in the past, we need a coach that has to be able to make the hard decisions, like a Parcells, like a Jimmy Johnson, like a Belichick, like that, where it's nothing personal, but we got a goal that we're trying to achieve, and I don't think you're living up to your end of the bargain, so I got to let you go and go in a different direction. So we're in a situation where Howie and Sirianni, they got a good read of the room. And they know what's going on. They know what temperament that they need. We talked about when we signed Ndamukong Suh. First thing I thought about was that all of that mess that he was doing when he was with Miami, stomping on people's heads and the legs, getting suspended, getting fined. That's what I thought of, because that's, that was a big part of his history. But as you grow older, you know better. When you know better, you do better. And he's in a situation, at the end of the day, you want to win, so it is what it is. Let me see. I think it took a toll win. I mean, it could. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that is not out of the realm of possibility. When you take too many shots and you get gun shy. I've seen it happen before. Quarterback get out there and get the yips. That's not out of the realm of possibility. But, different things happen for different reasons, right? So let's talk about the news of the day. Jalen Hurts, that is his agent, Nicole Lynn, got her paid. First black female agent to work a deal like that. I believe she's the first female agent to work a deal like that. Now, there's been some other successful female agents, but not at the quarterback position. I wish I meant to find that. I saw the interview with one of the women. She was like either the first or one of the first female agents to rep an NFL player. And she was telling the story. Dang it, I wish I could remember her name. She was telling the story of when the first time she went to the combine. And some other agents were treating her bad and making some questionable comments, like she needed to get up out of there. Not like they were going to do anything to her, but like, you don't belong here. This is the boys' club. You understand what I'm saying. So to go from there to this is pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. So the one thing that's important is in this contract, like we said, 5-year, $255, altogether about $179 million in guarantees. But here's the thing. There we go. Here's the thing with his contract. This is a contract extension. So 2023, he's technically in the last year of his contract. So what that means is the Eagles are only on the hook for about $6.1 million against the cap. That goes back into how he's got a little elbow room to move around, sign some free agents, and make some things happen. That's where we are. So everybody's hot and bothered for Budda Baker. I wouldn't mind that. Now, let me say this. Because I've been hearing a lot of noise where people are saying, like, they don't feel comfortable going into the season with Reed Blankenship. I don't know where you get that from. Reed Blankenship didn't do nothing but show me that he could play at this league and he was ready to play. Now, even with the Josiah Scott experience, that didn't start off well at all, but he got better. The more he played, the better he got. Usually that's what happens. Not all the time, but usually. So the only way you can tell if somebody can play is if you let them play. And I didn't see anything that made me think Reed Blankenship is not up to task. That's just me. The only knock I would have on Reed Blankenship, I wish he was a tad bit faster, but I'm nitpicking. He got a pick. He came up to make the hits. So I don't have no problem with that. I don't have no problem with two players that we had, Reed Blankenship, Reed Blankenship and Cam Jurgens. Both of those boys were ready to play. And if you'd had the right opportunity, I would throw Nakobe Dean in there as well. You guys know how I feel about that. Nakobe Dean in 2023 is going to make everybody pissed off that Jonathan Gannon wasn't playing him in 2022. I think he's going to be that good, but we will wait and see. So, yo, Larry, I'm with you 100%. And one of the things I was talking about this morning on Morning Coffee, if you guys didn't know, you can catch me on Morning Coffee every Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. I'm everywhere, man. Getting out there. But one of the things we were talking about, we got a situation because of what Howie is doing, because of the way Jeffrey Lurie has built the NovaCare complex and the stadium, link, all of that kind of stuff. We are a destination now. We are a destination. I finally saw it today. I read about it, but I didn't see the video until today. The video of Buda Baker on some morning show, some sports show, talking about where he would like to go. And he mentioned Nick Sirianni by name. Because they were basically asking what kind of team do you want to play for, or what kind of coach would you like to play for? And he made the point that he wanted to play for somebody that would be real, that wouldn't, fake the funk on them and try to put on a front. So he was like, whatever your attitude is or whatever your personality is, just bring it. If you a loudmouth, be a loudmouth. If you quiet, be quiet, but just be true. And he said, I like that guy in Philadelphia, Nick Sirianni. He said Sirianni by name. You don't really see that too often. You definitely don't see that for people trying to get to Philadelphia. So this is a recent thing within the last 2 years. Going to a Super Bowl helps. And your quarterback basically outplayed the MVP of the league. One mistake too many. But everybody saw that. So now, what do you think about Philadelphia? They got a bright future. They got two studs at wide receiver. They got a good defense. They got a damn good defensive line. They got an outstanding quarterback. It's a good destination to go. Good place to be. So, yep, 6.5. Then it goes up to 13. Yep. So 13's not too bad. It ain't great, but it's not too bad. So that still gives you a little bit of wiggle room. It all depends on who you got, who you signing, and how much money you need to give out for bonuses and signing bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of wiggle room. And I don't believe for 1 second that Jalen's going to get to that 5th year. They're going to renegotiate before then. But his health comes into play when you're talking about that. So, you know what? Vince, I thought the same thing, and that makes sense. That makes sense. Because my logic was, like, do you know what Buda Baker's at? Buda Baker, what I saw, he was asking for 14 to 16. So we write about it the same number. But if you didn't want to give, CJGJ 8 to 12, well, he didn't want to take it the way we had it structured. But you could have upped that ante a little bit. And here's, I'm wondering if, because wouldn't that be a smack in the face? Wouldn't that be a smack in the face of CJ Garner-Johnson if we signed Buda Baker for like 14, 15 million and we let him walk for 8? Wouldn't that be a smack in the face? We hear all kind of noise coming out of Detroit. So, what's up, Frank? So, I wouldn't mind getting Buda Baker. Now that we know, especially how he knows what we're dealing with, would that be a trade? Maybe they can get that price down if they offer some type of draft compensation. That's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe the Eagles say, hey, I need you to take half of this contract we're going to give them, and we'll throw in the 30 pick for you. Like something like that. I can see that happening. Howie thinks outside the box, man. He definitely thinks outside the box. And, you know what? I don't think people are talking about Branch enough. I picked up Branch in one of my mock drafts about an hour ago. A lot of people, they're not thinking about him. It's too much noise around him, and it's like he gets lost in the shuffle. Because Branch, well, let me ask you this. Mike, would you rather have Gonzalez, Witherspoon, or Branch? Or does it matter? Branch is a playmaker. So that'd be pretty interesting. Branch, if we draft like that though, Tom Arnone was talking about that on his show last night. If you draft somebody that hot as they're a day one player, you're not gonna put them on the bench. They gotta play, right? They gotta play. So I don't know. But I'm still running through these mocks. They're funny. I saw one mock where we traded with the Jets. I'm not crazy. Like I was looking at this mock draft. I am not crazy about Lucas Van Ness at all. I would be curious looking at this draft, who else was available when this came up. I'm not crazy about Van Ness at all. I would rather have the kid, what's his name? Kalijah. Let me see. Kalijah. The kid, I think he's from Pitt. Kalijah Cansey from Pittsburgh, defensive tackle. I would rather have him rather than Van Ness. So, but these mocks, some of them are getting out of hand. But it's fun though. So, but today, Twitterverse got a buzz a little bit because we just signed this kid from Atlanta, Olamide Zacchaeus. That sounds like an addition on the Key and Peele speech, on that sketch with the Brickasaw Ferguson. But we just signed him. He's 25. He's from the area. He's a local kid. He uh-oh. What did I do? There we go. He's a local kid. He's from Plainfield, New Jersey, but he went to St. Joe's Prep in Philly. So he's got ties to the area. Kind of a quick hitter, short guy, 5'8", about 195. And he should challenge Quez Watkins at that number 3 spot. And as soon as he was drafted, you start hearing from Quez. You ain't heard nothing from Quez all in the offseason. All in the offseason. Because clearly Sirianni likes Quez, so he ain't going nowhere. But we all know the struggles that he's had. And, like, I'm glad he's got a chip on the shoulder. The obvious thing you can say is it shouldn't take all of that, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And truthfully, he really didn't have a down year, in my opinion. He just dropped some big balls. He just dropped, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. And he didn't. He had some opportunities to seal some games away. Well, let's be real. There were 2 opportunities specifically that we're talking about. The Washington game and the Super Bowl. But when you're talking about a division rival and then you're talking about the Super Bowl, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. Period. That's all I can say. Chucks, my dude, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I heard that what Howie and Nick were talking about today. Like I said, they love him. They love him. But it gets to a situation where it's not personal, and I'm hoping he comes out and he balls out. Because at the end of the day, the big guy in the sky don't lie. So don't get in your feelings if people got criticisms. We're not making it up. I know you can ball. I know you got close to elite level speed. The boy is fast as all get out. But my thing is like, okay, if you're that fast, maybe they should be throwing you the ball a little bit more. How come they weren't? Because A.J. Brown is better. Because Devontae Smith is better. You can have the speed, but who's the better receiver? Let's keep it 100. So he can still do some things. So one of the things, let me see. Can I switch this? There we go. So here's the tail of the tape with Quez Watkins and Zacchaeus, right? They're pretty much even. Zacchaeus had, 7 more catches? Okay. The yardage is much better, over almost 100 yards more, or more than 100 yards. Both had 3 touchdowns. Average per catch is a little bit better. 13.3 versus 10.7. So basically, they're the same type of receiver. I'd have to watch a little bit more tape on Zacchaeus because I want to see what his speed is. You can look at the combine, he's 4.4 stuff, but I want to see what his game speed is. Because we know Quez is fast. But if all things being equal, I want the 6-foot guy. If Quez is faster and you got 6 foot versus 5'8", I want the 6-foot guy. So I advantage Quez Watkins. But is Zacchaeus a playmaker? Can we put him out there and let him do some things, run the reverse? Can we put him at punt return? Can he do some things out there? Because he's that small, shifty type dude. When he gets the ball in his hands, we'll see. So at least he got some pressure on him, Quez Watkins. He got some pressure on him. So we'll see what's going to happen. Public enemy number 1. Posing. They drafted Robinson. You know what? I hope they do. If Jalen Carter drops to 10, which I doubt, we're going to get Jalen Carter. But if Bijan is there, I guess my thing is like, so what happens to Rashad Penny? What happens to Kenny Gainwell? Everybody can't touch the ball. 22 players on the field at the same time. There's only one ball. Everybody can't get the ball. So what are you going to do? But the way we run the ball, like, come on, man. Our running backs, Rashad Penny's on a 1-year deal, but Rashad Penny is a tank. Chucks, dude, you watch them running backs. Rashad Penny is fast and he is big. He is, if I'm going to compare some Rashad Penny, the way he runs, I'm going to say Marshawn Lynch. He might not be as big as Marshawn, but same style. Like, that dude runs fast and with power and can pull away from you. So if we get Bijan Robinson, we have to play him. We can't be putting him in packages and all of that. We can't waste him. You can't waste that type of talent. You got to let him go. Can our coaches do that? I haven't seen that yet. Now, granted, we got new coaches, so very interested to see how that works out. Are we still going to go pass drunk? Are we still going to go RPO drunk? I don't know. Yeah, but Chucks, that's my point, though. You are not wrong. But my point is the way we've been running backs, he ain't going to get enough run to get hurt. Plus, he got a chip on his shoulder because he's looking for his payday. So he knows he's got to ball out. So everybody's got a MO. Everybody's got their reasons. Penny is not old. Penny's what, 27? Where you get old from? Well, I'll disagree with you here about Gainwell. If you watch Gainwell in college, Gainwell put in work, and it was never an issue. Never. And Gainwell was around some good backs. And he was the dude. So him being a workhorse was never an issue. I don't see why it would be now. And you can't say that because he's never been in the situation. The only thing you can say is Penny's got a injury history. And I get that. I understand that. But you know what? We said the same thing about Miles Sanders. Look what happened when you run him the right way. Miles Sanders was the same thing. Boy couldn't walk down the steps without twisting the ankle. But you know what? Finally got it together. Wasn't fumbling. Stayed on the field. And when you get into a rhythm, that's very important. Very, very important when you're talking about running backs. When you get into a rhythm, things seem to work better. Everybody has the opportunity to get hurt. You can't avoid that. But the way we burn our running backs, I don't see Rashad Penny being in the game getting 25 carries. That's how you should treat your number one back. If we get Bijan Robinson, that dude needs to have at least, 10 touches a game between pass and rush. That makes sense. That's a reasonable request. But it was a reasonable request for Miles Sanders to have at least 15 touches a game, 15 rushes a game, the way our offensive line was. And that's the other thing about this. Are we still going to waste our offensive line like that? Our offensive line is so good, Jalen Hurts should never have to run an RPO if he don't want to. Never. Our O-line is that good. You can argue other teams might have an O-line maybe just as good, maybe. But I'm like, listen, they should have put Miles Sanders back 7 yards. You running behind Lane, you run that behind Jordan. Run it till they stop it. And now you put somebody back there that's bigger and faster, run it till they stop it. And guess what? If you get hurt, guess what? Gainwell, go to work. Boston Scott, go to work. Trey Sermon, go to work. You ain't going to never see what you got until you see what you got. Fans sometimes get misled about that, why they don't like a particular player. How you know if you don't like them? It's like, when you was little and your parents tried to get you to eat that food that you thought you didn't like. And it's like, how you know you don't like it if you never tried it? It's the same stuff. You don't know if you got a player unless you let them play. I mentioned that earlier in the show. Reed Blankenship is a perfect example of that. We didn't want Reed Blankenship having to start. Avonte Maddox goes down. CJGJ goes down. We got to do what we got to do with the players we got. Reed Blankenship gets back there. He's solid. Now you know he can play. So now what are you scared of? That's the only way you're going to find out. Sometimes it don't translate in practice. Chucks, I'm with you, bro. I hope Miles balls the hell out down in Carolina. I hope he balls out. I like Miles Sanders. Physical back, not afraid to block. And I think they discount how strong Miles Sanders is. Let me say it like that. I think we didn't pump that enough. Don is in the building. Oh, dude, what are you talking about, man? Don't tell me that. JoJo about to get ejected. I don't have the game on, so don't tell me that, bro. I see you, Pete. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate your support, son. Yeah, Chuck, I'm with you, man. I don't think he was, with the intention of handing him the lead role automatically. But here's the thing: what do you do now? Because he can't. Technically, the way they do with these newer days, they're not going to hit. So your only opportunity to shine in preseason is at the games. You can't put it down in practice. You can't do it. It's only in scrimmages and the preseason games. Because now during the week, you wearing them damn helmets all the time. So nobody's taking any hits. That's why tackling sucked for the first 5 weeks last year. It's going to suck again this year. Don, post the score for me. So it's going to be very difficult. It's a weird dynamic that nobody really thought about, especially with the, with them bringing in the equipment for concussions and stuff like that. How that's going to affect how you prepare, because now, like, you got to see who can bang. You got to see who can take a hit. You got to be able to figure that out in camp. And now they can't anymore. So it's only 7-4, and he got a flagrant already? Damn. All right. But it is so difficult to figure out what you got. I'm still trying to figure out why Trey Sermons ain't getting no burn. Because, and let me say it like this, because this is a possibility, or you just got one of them dudes that just can't get right. And what I mean by that is you got somebody that never knows the plays, don't study the playbook, stuff like that. That's a possibility, because they don't want you in the game and you don't know what you're doing. So that could be a reason with Trey Sermons. I don't know if it is. I'm just saying it's very difficult to find out. The way we practice now, very difficult to find out, man. So, But we got to see what we got. Back to the original point, we got to see what we got. Quez has got to get in there because he got this new kid that's going to push him. So we got to see what he's made of. Or this is going to be what people remember you from. Jalen Hurts laying that dime on you when you're not coming up with the ball. That's what you don't want to be known for that. So I hope he balls out. But he's going to have competition, and that's the way it should be. Now, you can't be in the position that we are in, the Eagles organization, without controversy. And you know you a big-time team now when you start getting controversy and the season hasn't even started. So the word got out. The Eagles posted it on their website that we were hiring Matt Patricia. And, of course, everybody remembers Slay's issue with Patricia. Now, I knew he didn't like Patricia. I just didn't know why. So I went back, did a little digging, and found some news articles from Detroit when he was still in Detroit. And apparently, I guess Patricia just didn't like – I don't know if he was trying to just dig at him or maybe motivate him or something. But basically, I guess Slay was working out with Richard Sherman. And Patricia made a comment saying that Slay didn't deserve to work out with somebody like Sherman, indicating that, like, yo, you're not even good enough to be in that class of players, so don't, like, something like that. And that was like, and I guess it, rightfully so, it rubbed Slay the wrong way. So he never, I've seen the quotes, he doesn't hate him as a man, but as a coach, he didn't have respect for him and stuff like that. So I can understand how a war of words could start, especially with somebody like Slay, who's mouthy anyways. But Patricia crashed and burned early. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But very similar to how Ndamukong Suh was. That was my worry with Suh, that he was going to bring back some of those Miami tendencies. But when you know better, you do better. Same thing with Slay. How many years ago was that? Slay done been through some things. Patricia done been through some things. And I would argue that Patricia hadn't had the best record. So this is a situation where I would gather that Patricia needs to come in humble, do what he got to do, make amends, and, they can hash it out and be civil and be about the business of getting back to the Super Bowl. I can see that happening. So don't nobody want to mess up that check at the end of the day. So guess what? Patricia, maybe he need to tone it down a little bit. Slay wasn't hiding from his feelings. And let's be real. Patricia knows why he feels like that. So he can't hide from it either, because at the end of the day, he said what he said. So that's one of those situations. That's an old school situation, because these days, that type of stuff don't happen as much. That's almost like when I used to say, being in the vet with the Eagles in 93, if somebody from the Philadelphia Inquirer didn't like you or said something bad about you, they had to see you in the locker room that week, because we wasn't putting stuff on Twitter. They had to see you face to face, stand in your face with a little recorder and ask you a couple questions. And you had to come with it, because then you could come back at them like, yo, man, why are you coming at me like that? Ray Dinger tells a famous story when him and Dick Vermeil got into it. Because Dick Vermeil thought Ray Dinger should have been writing stuff to uplift the team. And Ray Diddy was like, yo, I'm keeping it real. And Vermeil didn't like that. So they had it out. They had an argument. Like, Vermeil pulled him into the office and they went at it. And ultimately, they had to come to an agreement and a measure of respect for one another, because Ray Dinger was like, I'm not sugarcoating this. I'm going to tell it like it is. And you got to do better. Big eye in the sky don't lie. Same thing with Patricia and Slay. Slay ain't got nothing to hide. He got his money. He balled out. He's good. Patricia is the one with something to prove. So I'm very curious to see how that works. I think it'll be fine, because if the one thing you can say with somebody that's got kind of a bad history, at least now he knows what not to do. And he's coming on a winning team. He's coming on a winning team. So again, he don't want to mess up that check. He don't want to mess up that opportunity. Because the way things are now, you might not get another one. You got to be careful, because people digging that, they going back and picking up old receipts. So I don't think we might be making more of it than it actually is, because I know in the press conference today, Sirianni said that they talked to Slay. Now, I don't know if they talked to Slay. I don't know exactly what that means. I'll just take it as they let Slay, they made him aware of what they were about to do. I don't know if they asked for his permission. I sincerely doubt it. But I'm with you, Michelle. He ain't going to mess that up. I don't know what that conversation was, but I'm sure that they just let him know that, hey, this is what we're about to do. Just want to let you know you have no bearing in this decision, but we just giving you the respect because we know the history. And again, the culture of the locker room, the culture of the organization, they didn't even have to do that. Dude, Don, they got some crazy name for it. Assistant to the defensive coordinating, something crazy like that. It's crazy. Basically, he's a defensive backs coach. Let's just leave it at that. Keep it simple. Let's just keep it simple. So we're in the spot where we want to be. And everybody wants a piece of us. They want to be a part of this squad. You know what I mean? So that's a good place to be. So Howie keeps doing his thing. Press conference was good. And I'm sure everybody broke out the Kleenex today when he started talking about Bijan Robinson, you know. And I thought it was interesting. But Howie's not going to let anything out the bag. So he's not going to try to sound too up or too down on Bijan or anybody else, because now it's too close to the draft. You trying to set up for a position, and you can you don't want to give away your hand. So he's trying to keep it close to the vest. But you know, when they was asking about Jalen Hurts, you know, when you pay him that much money, are you going to try to protect him more? And Sirianni, I like this answer. We didn't pay him more for him to do less. I like that answer. Yes, you are going to protect him, but we wanted him to do the things that got him to this point. I agree 100%. 100%. Because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing, well, there are some things you can do, but you are one play away from ruin or glory. So you can push the envelope. You guys know how I feel about the law of averages. You know, if he's your quarterback and you're going to run him 7 times in a game, yeah, somebody going to put a lick on him. So maybe not, let's not do that. Let's use some common sense. So I think he'll be okay. I think he knows what's expected. Jalen Hurts does. I think the team understands who he is and what he brings to the table. So the unspoken stuff, Lane Johnson, Kelsey, Jurgens, especially Mailata, the unspoken stuff, they know what they've got. So I would imagine they're going to protect him to the nth degree. And again, shifting it to Brian Johnson, like, yo, let's get away from the RPOs and let's run them big-ass running backs we got back there now. Or, to that point, Bijan Robinson looks pretty damn good. Just as a way to take some of the pressure off of Jalen. Because now we got that hybrid we've been talking about. Now we got two. We got two hybrids and we got two tanks. You got Sermons, you got Rashad Penny, you got Bijan Robinson, possibly. You got Kenny Gainwell, and then you got Boston Scott as a wild card. Scott, Gainwell, and maybe a Bijan Robinson, all of them can catch a screen pass. So now you can adjust your game. Your mismatch game is on point because who's going to cover him? You get him in the right formation, we always win that matchup battle. That's how you win games. That's how you win games. You win games with the matchups. If we can get Bijan, put him in a shift or in motion, and the linebackers covering him, that's a wrap. So you look at how the Chiefs did with Kelsey. They was moving Travis Kelsey all over the place. And depending on what formation you in and what defense they running, you doing that to get the matchup you want. There is not. Can you imagine like somebody like Vander Esch covering Bijan Robinson? You name any linebacker. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We always win that battle. That's the chess match you want to win. That's the chess match. Those are the pieces you want to have on your table. Bijan Robinson is like having an extra queen on the board. You can move in any different direction and go anywhere you want to go. And you look at San Francisco. They got two queens on the board. They got Debo and they got CMC. And you got 8 million things you can do with those two players by themselves. Then you throw Kittle in it. We got a tight end like Kittle. On top of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So the weapons we have on offense and what we would look like if we added a Bijan Robinson and that offensive line is ridiculous. And I would love to see that happen. I would love to see that happen. So let's hope Howie's doing his homework. Let's hope that his recent decisions, specifically, all of a sudden we getting these players from the SEC, Devontae Smith, the Georgia boys. Let's lean into that. Let's go get the obvious. I would like to think in my mind's eye at some owners meeting somewhere, they roasted the hell out of Howie Roseman. The video went out. The video clip is starting to play. It always plays at the draft now when the Vikings were laughing and happy because we drafted Jalen Reagor because they didn't think that we would do it. Translate that into they didn't think we were that stupid. Justin Jefferson was clearly far and away the best receiver on the board at that particular time. Why we chose Jalen Reagor, I have no idea. None. Even if you legitimized him running that 4.2, you know the speed, the tape doesn't match up. When you look at tape on Justin Jefferson and you look at tape on Jalen Reagor, the two are not the same. So that's when you look at like Howie. Did you make that decision? Or did you listen to somebody that you were trusting? Maybe they didn't do their homework. I don't know. But you can't make that type of mistake again. And he hasn't done that since. I'm okay with you missing on some players. But you can't, that's just a stone cold strikeout. Justin Jefferson, you watch the tape. Why would you do that? So I don't think he's going to put himself in that situation again. I don't see it happen. So he's going to be a little bit wiser in that regard. And just showing this real quick. When Howie asked him, why do I need to take you at number 10? And Bijan Robinson said, you're not going to get a running back. You're going to get a difference maker. I like that attitude. I'm coming in, moving and shaking. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to hear from your guy. Put the ball in my hands and let me do the rest. Like Gail says, you can say, give me 18 inches and I'll take care of the rest. That's the type of temperament you want. And another Texas boy with Jalen Hurts, like, come on. It's the stars are aligned. The stars are aligned for something like that to happen. So, Dan, I don't put too much in. He only visited the Bucks and us. That's fun. Okay. That doesn't really mean anything. So, but all right, folks, man, I'm about to get up out of here because I want to see the end of this game. Let's go. I got to get my, I took this picture. That's my little Embiid action figure I bought. I saw this online. I was like, yo, I got to get this. So that's my little Embiid action figure. My little Embiid dog. His head disappearing. There you go. It's pretty cool. I might have to do some poses where he dunking and stuff. But yeah. So, all right, it's about to get crazy. Dan, I think I'm going to try to find a way to be live on draft day. Everybody and their mama's going to be doing live stuff. So I think I am going to try to do something, but I want to make it different. And I'm trying to figure that out, how I'm going to do that. Because I know A2D is probably going to be live. So we'll see. But I will keep everybody posted. And if you don't know already, you can 3 spots that you can follow me, right? You can follow me right here on the mothership, A2D Radio. You can follow me on my YouTube channel, Pro Fan Talk. Just go to YouTube and search Pro Fan Talk. You'll find me. And you can find me every Thursday morning on Morning Coffee. That's rvntelevision.com/live. If you check my Twitter feed, if you check my Instagram, you will see me. Good night, mama. Talk to you later. So I'm going to go check out this game. I appreciate y'all checking me out today. Do me a favor. When you drop in next week, bring a friend. I'm out. Y'all be safe. Go Birds.